Welcome to Learning English through news highlights using microlearning. Everyone, today's topic is interesting. We'll break down a news story from the Wall Street Journal. JPMorgan Chase and Goldman Sachs post surging profits. Sara, are you ready?
Absolutely. This story is a great way to learn new vocabulary and understand some important ideas about the economy. Let's start by giving a quick summary of the article. Eric, want to lead?
Sure. So, in simple terms, two of the biggest banks in the United States, JPMorgan Chase and Goldman Sachs, announced they were making a lot more money than before. The profits increased or surged, as the article says. This happened because the economy is slowly getting stronger and more people and companies are borrowing and spending money.
That's right. And when banks make more money, it often means that businesses are growing or people are using more financial services like loans or investments. But let's talk about some key words in this story. For example, Eric said the profits surged. What does surge mean, Eric?
Good question. Surge means a sudden, large increase. Imagine the waves in the ocean. Sometimes they're small, but sometimes they get very big quickly. That's like a surge. For example, we could say, there was a surge in ticket sales after the concert was announced. Or electricity use surged during the summer because everyone used air conditioning.
Perfect examples. So, when this article says profits surged, it means the banks made a lot more money very quickly. Another word we should explain is a profit. A profit is the money you have left after paying all your costs. For example, if you sell lemonade for $1 but it costs you 50 cents to make it, your profit is 50 cents. Another example, a bookstore might earn $10,000 in sales, but if running the business costs $7,000, their profit is $3,000. Got it?
Exactly. These banks had very large profits recently. The article also mentioned that this increase in profits is happening because of borrowing and spending. Let's take borrow first. To borrow means to take something temporarily and then give it back. For example, I borrowed a book from the library, or my friend borrowed $20 from me last week.
And borrowing is very common when talking about banks. People borrow money to buy houses, cars, or for starting a business. When they do this, they usually have to pay it back with something called interest. Now, let's explain spending. What does it mean, Eric?
Spending means using money to buy things or services. For example, I spent $50 on groceries yesterday, or she is spending her weekend traveling. In this story, people and companies spending more money helps the banks make profits. That's because many of the services the banks offer, like loans or investment help, cost money.
Exactly. And here's why this news matters. When major banks like JPMorgan Chase and Goldman Sachs do well, it's often a sign that the economy is improving. But it's important to balance things. While banks making profits is good, there's also an ongoing debate. Some people think banks should help customers more when they earn so much money. What do you think about that, Eric?
That's a great question, Sara. It definitely depends on how banks use their profits. If they invest in communities, create more jobs, or support small businesses, that can be positive. It's all about balance, as you said. Speaking of balance, let's revisit some of the vocabulary words to make sure our listeners remember them.
Great idea. Let's start with surge. This means a sudden, large increase. Remember the example of ocean waves or electricity use in the summer?
Right. Then we had profit, which means the money left after all costs are paid. Like selling lemonade for $1 when it costs 50 cents to make, it gives you a profit of 50 cents.
Next, there's borrow. It means to take something temporarily and return it. Borrowing money from a bank is a common example.
Finally, we talked about spending, which is using money to buy something. spending by people and companies help these banks make their profits.
We hope you enjoyed learning English with us today. Remember to listen to stories like this to grow your vocabulary and improve your understanding of current events in English.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, and keep practicing your English. Goodbye.